You have to stop doing a disservice to yourself by trying so hard to make your presence felt in other people's lives. If you're in the habit of being the only person who is always the first to send that SMS, sending that message, to make that phone call, to initiate that conversation when they are quiet, and yet they know that such a thing has to be done, then probably you are trying to make yourself present in some other person's, albeit by force. So, let's talk about the things that you should avoid doing first. Being the first person to do these things all the time puts you across, depicts you, tells the other person that you are trying so hard to get present in their lives. It actually makes you appear like a desperate person who is trying to be recognized by some other person, somebody is forcing his or her presence in some other person's life. Now, some of these things include, but of course, they are not limited only to the following. For example, avoid being the person who always goes first to send in that text message. We know it's crucial to communicate in our lives. It's something so good. But why do you think you are always the first person to send in that text? I strongly believe that that person who is reading that message has either a computer, maybe they have, let me say, a phone on which they receive those messages. So, why can't they wake up and then be the first people to text you? I mean, if it's a one-off thing, then that's okay. But if you are doing that same thing almost day in, day out, on all occasions, you are the only person who does that first. You might end up sending a wrong signal. Somebody might see you as somebody who is trying so hard to be felt, who is trying so hard to be present in some other person's life. So, do away with it. If they all of a sudden start doing the same way you were doing it, probably they need you in their lives. But if you are always the first one to text, day in, day out, then you might end up pushing, the wrong signal to the other person. Then, avoid being the first person to make that phone call. We all know it's all sweet, to speak to your people, to make them appreciate you, to know that you are around, or maybe to find out how they are doing in their lives. But my dear, if you do it once, twice, thrice, 4 times, the fifth time, you find that you are always the first person or the first to make that phone call, then you might need to check up yourself. If they are not taking the initiative to call you first, for a long period of time, you are always the one who is calling first. Please do away with it. Then sit back, relax, and watch the space. You will get shocked to realize that you were forcing things to work out. Maybe a relationship, maybe a colleagueship, maybe something to work out. So, do away from being the first person who always makes that phone call all the time. Being the one to make that phone call first. Maybe they already know what you're about to tell them about, but they are quiet. So, keep calm. Be quiet. avoid making that phone call first and wait for them to make that move. Then the third thing is the conversation. We know it's good to be, effective in communicating, initiating those conversations. It's good. But my dear, you don't have to be the only person who is always initiating that talk, that conversation first, all the time. If it's important and needs to be talked about, then give them the opportunity to as well initiate that kind of conversation. You can't be the only person in the group or in the circle or in a relationship or a partnership who is always initiating a conversation, no matter what the conversation is about. Give them the chance, to spread out their wings and feelings and thoughts and equally initiate those conversations. If you think those conversations are so crucial, if you think you both need maybe to have that conversation, or you as a group, you all need to have such a conversation, then relax. Let them also take the initiative of initiating or starting up, that kind of conversation. Because if you think it's important, then probably it should be important for each and every person, not only about you. So give some other person an opportunity or the opportunity to initiate that kind of conversation. If they do not, then chill. Avoid being the person who is always the first to initiate a conversation. Maybe it's on a social media group or platform, or maybe you're meeting physically, or maybe about to start something on phone, and you find out that it's always you doing that first. No, it's not healthy. It can't be you all the time. Chill down, relax, and then let's wait and see if they or if he or she will as well be initiating those conversations. If they do not, then just know that you have probably been, putting across a different message about you. Maybe they have been misinterpreting you depending on what you have been initiating or what you have been, trying to make them do. Then the other things that we should avoid always being the first to do. For example, being the one to initiate a day out. Yeah, your friends, your colleagues, your workmates, maybe you fellowship together, you belong to the same church community, and you think you need to be out together. So it's you who initiated that day out the past 4 times that you have been out. And again, you are the one who is still initiating it right now. Maybe a few times it didn't work out. Then the other times it worked out. But you still think you should be the only person to initiate that. Think about that. Why do you think the rest of the members are not initiating that? If it's something so good, then let some other person do it. And letting them do it, I don't mean that you should tell them to initiate it. No. Simply watch the space. Chill, keep quiet, and then wait. See if there is some other person who is going to come out, out of the blue, and then initiate that, day out thing. Then people with children, for example, will find that it's only you who always initiates or suggests that their children should have a day out. My friend, the past holiday, you were the only person who initiated that. Maybe thank God it worked out. Maybe this recent one, you're the one. And even as that ends, you are planning to initiate the same thing. My brother, my sister, my friend, they also have children. Probably they enjoy having their children out. But why do you think it's always you giving them phone calls? Hey, hi, hello, I think we should do this and the other. Hey, I think our children should do this or the other. Excuse me. don't you think you could be forcing your life to be present in their life? Don't you think you could be forcing some things to be, to enter into their, schedule? So, relax, take it easy. Let some other person take it up. Then we also have families, and you always find that there is that specific person who is always the one who thinks families should have get-togethers. So you have been initiating that since 2019. And maybe people turn up, sometimes they do not, sometimes they do in large numbers, sometimes maybe, in minimal numbers, or sometimes they do not. Why do you think the rest of the family members never come up with such a thing? Yes, family get-togethers are good, reunions are good, but why are you always the first to initiate such a thing? Give others a chance. If it means maybe initiating will make them shine, let them shine a little bit. If maybe it's going to make them popular, let them get some popularity at a certain time, instead of you being the one who is always initiating those things. Then I know some other few things. For example, you're the only person who always wakes them up all the time. Maybe it's a friend, or you think it's a friend in quotes, and it's you to always wake them up first every morning, week in, week out, month, year after year. And you are comfortable with that, my friend? You should check your life. You might be forcing your life to be present in some other person's life. Don't force your presence to be felt in some other person's life. Chill it a little bit and then wait and see what's going to happen. If you don't wake them up every morning to wish them a very good morning and a good day ahead, are they going to return it back? If they return it back, then maybe it's healthy. But if they do not, you will only realize later that you were trying to pass across a message that wasn't being fully appreciated. Then the other thing is, for example, you always calling, texting, to wish them a good night. You think it's your responsibility every day, every night. They have never taken up that responsibility, to text you first or to give you that phone call. Maybe it's bedtime and it's you texting all the time, every night, every day, day in, day out. It's not healthy. Give them the chance to do that. If they do, we praise God. If they do not, then you have to think twice about that. Then, of course, there are also other things. For example, being you who is always apologizing. You are too apologetic. Whether you are in the wrong or not, it's you who is always apologizing. My dear, that will put you across as somebody who is so needy, somebody who is less confident. You'll be putting across a wrong picture. If they are in the wrong and they think maybe your partnership should stay, then let them apologize once. You don't have to be the only person who is always doing what? Who is always, apologizing. And as I come to the end of today's video, the other thing that we should always avoid doing first all the time is you being the first person to always notify them about what's happening in other people's lives. Yes, we know you always have your ears down on the ground. You're good at knowing what's happening in other people's lives. But hey, nobody is asking you for that kind of information. So, why do you always text, call, or even walk to get them where they are physically, to let them know what's happening in other people's lives? Well, I don't know if it's your responsibility or not, but if it's your responsibility, then you can go ahead and do that. But if you think you're doing a good job by always being the very first person to notify each and every person in your group or in your circles about what's happening in some other person's life, then my friend, you might be doing it the wrong way. Let some other person also come up with that information. I believe the group is going to receive that as well. Because minus that, people will end up, misunderstanding you. They can't really understand what you are always up to. You always being the first to gather information and then notify each and every person about what's happening in some other person's life. How crazy or how crazier can it be if that is not? Then the other thing that maybe we should avoid is you always being the first to inquire how the other person is doing. To find out whether they're doing well or whether they're not doing well, whether things are working out or not. Sometimes you need to lay back and relax and then let the other people also, open up and tell you what's happening in their lives. Some others will see it as intruding, You are kind of intruding. You are poking your nose where it's not meant to be. So, relax. And the other thing is you always trying to find out why the other person is no longer present on the social scene, or maybe why their presence is so common now on the social scene. If that thing doesn't affect you directly and personally, then do away with it. Sometimes people go through a lot that they don't feel like sharing with anybody, no matter who. So, poking your nose into their life, trying to find out why they are so common on the social scene, or why they have all of a sudden withdrawn from the social scene, is not so important, I think, unless somebody has opened up to let you know why they are so present or why they are so absent from wherever you think they are absent from. Yes, thank you very much. Now, my dear, once you stop doing these things first, you will realize whether they have been good choices or not. So stop being the first all the time to do these things. Sit back, relax, and then watch the space. You will realize after some time that the things or some of the things that you were doing have all along been amounting into you trying to force your life into some other person's space. You will realize that they have been, all amounting to you trying to force your presence in some other person's life while they were very busy managing or living or doing their own lives. So stay away from forcing your life to be felt into some other person's business, some other person's, health, work, or personal related matters. Sit down, get a life. Live your own life and then enjoy it. Oh yes, thank you very much for watching today's video. And if you have watched up to this, time, please, I highly thank you. And if you're new here and yet subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing to this channel. Let us grow together, because at Stream Media UG, we love to stream and flow with you. And until our next video, my name is Rachel. I love you very much. Please keep watching. Remember to like this video, give it a thumbs up. You can as well feel free to share this video with friends, family, and within your different groups, so that other people can as well come and join this wonderful family. And you can also feel free, to go back and watch the different videos that are already uploaded on this channel. I'll be glad to see a notification about your subscription. Until then, may God bless you and I'll be delighted to speak to you once again in our next video. Bye for now.